this excess here. Alright. Now, the one side came off pretty clean. We're still going to clean it off in case there's any little clay residue, which there may be. And get that all cleaned up before we even think about doing any pouring into it. Make sure the sides fit good together. You can see right here, I will show you. The thumb broke from separating it. That's a clean break. It should be a fairly easy fix. So now we'll just work with that break. Just remove that carefully. Put it to the side so we can repair that later. Let's remember we have the pour spout in there as well. And it looks like we have a small skinning which happened over the finger. That is fine, because all we're going to do is cut that away. In this situation, I could just pull it. We'll get in with an X-Acto blade and give it a nice clean cut on each one when we get the sculpture out of there. And before we do any casting, we make sure the mold fits tight, all the air tracks are in there the way we want them to be, and it's nice and clean. So, even though the mold is technically done, there's still some more work to do. Okay. Now, let's get our finger under there. Let's see if we can pull this out without damaging it any further. And it looks like we should be fine. Okay. As you can see, the air traps we put on there, which were the toothpicks, are still inside the mold, along with our pour spout. So we're going to put the sculpture carefully to the side, which we'll repair later. And we're going to go into the mold, as you can see right here, and we're going to remove our clay pour spout, which came out intact. That's always good. And you can see the toothpicks inside there if you look good. And we're just going to dig in there with the needle nose pliers and get those out. One. It's always good to remember how many you put in there, and if I'm not mistaken, I believe there was 3. When you're doing multiple parts, it might be easier for you if you write them down per part how many air tracks you're in there, because I have had situations where doing fingers on small sculpts, I forgot how many air tracks are in there, and after the second or third pour, that little piece of toothpick I left behind finally comes out in the casting. There we go. All 3 are removed. And like I said, you can either use an X-Acto. There's a very thin film there which we're going to poke out. If you can see it. See what this is, where there's the pour spout, excuse me. Tongue twisted. The pour spout is supposed to be here, and we're going to cut that right out. It's a little thin wall there. We'll start with that. Use our X-Acto knife. You can basically see it with the light shining right through from this side. You can see the lighter area, which is right here. And we're just going to little circular motion to get things going. Right back where we started. And there we go, right where we're supposed to be. So we'll just cut that out. There's our little start, and what we're going to do is we're going to work on that and give it a little 45-degree angle and go a little deeper. Now, that's going to be our pour spout, the main pour spout to go into the hand. Now we're going to find those little air tracks again, and I see them from here. And we will use, like I said, we can use a drill, or we could use a nail, poke it through if you want. I have a metal bamboo skewer here, which I'm going to just clean the top of it off. Right here, little bent. You can see it's been used quite a few times. And we're going to go into the spots where the air tracks were, and we're going to push right through to the other side of the mold so we know where to cut. Now, we push through. You can see it right here. And all we're going to do is just use our, since we already have it here, the utility knife. And we're going to do the same technique where we're going to cut a little area off the top. Now we'll pull that back out, and you'll be able to see, we go back in and cut again. Basically, that's what you're going to be doing. Repeat that process 2 more times for the other side of the hand. Just cut a little more of this out. And that's it. We'll remove some of the extra skin here. Just pull that right off because it's so thin. And basically, it's just a little cleaning up needs to be done. And then resealing of it. Give it a little test fit to make sure it fits properly. Line it up. And of course, since it's a 2-part mold, you just can't leave it like that. You're going to have to put it together with some kind of bands, some rubber bands. And although it's not ready to be poured or anything yet, I'm just going to show you, we use types of rubber bands. And we'll probably put another one across the other way and then make it nice and secure and tight before we do any casting of the resin. So we have the main pour spout, we have 1 air track, and we're going to cut the other 2 air tracks that are missing. And then what we'll do is we'll do an initial pour, and we'll study the mold from there. If it needs to be doctored anymore, any more air tracks need to be done, depending on how the casting comes out. But I'm anticipating that it should be fairly good. Well, that's it. Now you know how to separate a 2-part mold, how to separate a 1-part mold, and the next step would be in the next video is to do a little casting to see how that goes. Okay.